Well, hi there. It is almost 12:30, and I'm behind schedule today. And if time to show up, again, past time to show up, like several hours past time to show up. Honestly, I want to do these things at 1 in the afternoon, and I just procrastinate all fucking day on them. But regardless, it is time to show up. I'm showing up. I'm glad you showed up. I appreciate every single one of you. And do the little YouTube dance, like, comment, subscribe, all that happy horse shit, and let's shit in the box. I am having trouble organizing my thoughts today. Don't you even? There you go. I'm having trouble organizing my thoughts today because I'm having a lot of them, but it's all like stuff that I've talked about before. Somebody said that Dr. Anthony Fauci went to medical school and became a licensed physician, whereas RFK Jr. went to Harvard, shot heroin, and coasted through on his name. And obviously, Fauci's the smart one. And a bunch of people have jumped up and gone, "Excuse me, how very dare you criticize a person with a substance abuse problem?" Guys, it's not that he shot heroin that is the problem. It's that he shot heroin irresponsibly and unproductively. Now, I know a lot of you are going to scratch your heads because I saw a lot of this when I said, I said online, I said it's not that he shot heroin, it's that he was irresponsible and unproductive about his shooting heroin. And somebody, how do you be responsible and productive about shooting heroin? I don't know how else to explain this to you. It's basically, drugs are drugs, okay? There's just, we divide drugs into like good drugs and bad drugs. There's medical drugs you get in a hospital, and there's street drugs you buy from a dealer, okay? But drugs are fucking drugs, okay? It's medication. And you've got medical usage and non-medical usage. Like, if you can't sleep because you've got a cough, then you go get yourself a bottle of NyQuil, the coughing, aching, sniffling, sneezing, stuffy head fever so you can rest medicine. And that's a medical usage. You take that, and now it relieves your cough and you can sleep, and that's good. But on the other hand, you can get yourself a bottle of Sprite and a bottle of NyQuil, and you can have yourself a fucking party. Do not do this. It is a bad idea. It can be done, but don't fucking do it. I do not that is an irresponsible, unproductive use of drugs right there. So anyway, it's the same medication, it's different usages, okay? One of them is irresponsible and unproductive. The other one is responsible and productive. You take the medication to do the thing that you need it to do because you need it to do that so you can be responsible and productive and get some fucking sleep. That's fine. But if you're making purple drank in your dorm room, purple drank is with Robitussin, but I think it's Dimetapp, actually. I think they've been using Dimetapp for that for a while. Dimetapp used to have codeine in it. I think that was the thing. But Robitussin has, I don't want to be giving anybody lessons here. Yeah, but there are various narcotic cough syrups that you can get, which have an active ingredient, which is fucked up. It's just like Benadryl. Benadryl is just an allergy medication, but you take enough of them, now you're seeing the Hat Man. Much of the real, serious abuses of over-the-counter medications, I don't know about from experience. I just know about them because I know a lot of people do a lot of drugs. Or more accurately, I know people who do a lot of drugs and who tell me about them doing a lot of drugs because I recognize that you can be responsible and you can be productive. I used to live with a drug dealer in Portland, and the popular conception of what a meth user looks like is not reality. And the popular conception of a heroin user is not reality. I mean, it's kind of... You watch Breaking Bad, and who do you see doing meth? Well, you see Tuco. He's a fucking lunatic. You see Jesse, who's a fucking loser. You see Badger, who's a nerd. And you see Skinny Pete. And then there's the guy who got shot, whose name I've forgotten. I feel bad for forgetting his name because, man, I liked that guy. And he was good in his role, and I liked him as a character. And then he got fucking shot. And you see the biker gangs are doing it. But that's the picture you get of who's doing meth. But mostly what I saw, and I don't know, maybe it's just the dealer I was living with, but most of the people that I saw buying meth from him are the same people I saw buying heroin from him. And it's people in the trades. It's people who work at machine shops, and people who are welders, and people who are auto mechanics. And the way that they use it is fundamentally responsible and productive. They're obligated to be awake and alert and on point the whole time they're at work. And they make themselves awake and alert and on point by smoking some meth. So what's the heroin for? Well, they get off of work and they need to shut down. They need to relax. They need to recuperate. They need to recover. So they take some heroin. Shuts everything down. And they're manually managing that. I got to be up when I'm at work, and I want to be down when I'm not at work. Up at work, down when I'm not at work. And you do that, and you can manage your mood. You can manage the state of your emotional being. And there's something broken about that. There's something really fucked up about it. But it's not irresponsible and unproductive, you know? They take something to get them up when they need to be up because of their job. They take something to bring them down when they need to be down because they got to recover and rest before their job. These are responsible, productive usages of street drugs, and there's something very fucked up about our society that we have so many people that feel like they need to do this. But I can't really criticize those people because it's not their fault. They're not the ones who chose for their jobs to work like this, or for their world to work like this, or for everything to be the way it is. So I don't have a problem with the idea that somebody took heroin. I have a problem with the idea that somebody went to Harvard, where they needed to be up and awake and alert, and they took heroin to shut them the fuck down. Because they didn't care about being at Harvard. They didn't value being at Harvard. They wasted their time at Harvard and did not use it to become a better person. They were irresponsible and unproductive about the way they used the fucking drugs. And I think most things are like that. I think almost everything in life is about responsible, productive use of stuff. Okay? And you can't necessarily be responsible and productive about everything, but you can avoid being irresponsible and unproductive about it. If I'm drunk when I need to be working and the work doesn't get done, that's irresponsible and unproductive. If I'm drunk in the middle of the fucking night singing sea shanties alone in my room, nobody fucking cares. I'll get up in the morning, I'll do my work, everything will be fine. I'm currently being very annoyed because it is the 30th of June. 30th of July, excuse me. 30th of July. And there are apples in the fucking yard that need to be cleaned up. There's too many fucking apples dropping off the tree. I'm just like, no. No! I refuse to concede that we have apples in the yard before August. No! I refuse. And that's denial, man. That's fucking denial. And I'm gonna have to go out. I am gonna have to go out tomorrow and I'm gonna have to clean up the fucking apples. I don't actually have a choice, man. I gotta clean the shit up. And if I get drunk instead of doing my work, that's irresponsible and unproductive. But if I were to hypothetically smoke a bunch of fucking crystal so I could be like, clean the apples, clean the apples, clean the apples, clean the apples, that would be responsible and productive. I'm not doing that. I'm not fucking doing that. But God, I don't want to clean up the apples. And if I used drugs to fuck myself up so I wouldn't have to do the apples, that would be irresponsible and unproductive. If I used drugs to get myself all hyped up to go and do the apples, that would be a responsible and productive use of drugs. But I pride myself on not fucking needing the drugs. I don't need alcohol to accomplish anything. I don't need any kind of street drugs to accomplish anything. I don't even take anything. Like, literally, alcohol is the only thing that I do. I don't even do nicotine anymore. It's not about the drugs. The drugs do not make you a bad person. Being a bad person makes you do the drugs the way you did the drugs. RFK Jr. did not do heroin, is not a bad person because he did heroin in Harvard. He did heroin at Harvard because he's a bad person. The causal relationship goes the opposite direction. And everybody's going, oh, you're stigmatizing people that do drugs. No, I'm stigmatizing bad people. Bad people are bad fucking people. Look, he's a bad person, so he did a thing. Well, other people did that thing. They did a different thing. They did a different thing. Well, people who did the exact same thing are also bad people. Well, not just because of, no, not because of, no. Did the thing because they're bad. They're not bad because they did the thing. They did the thing because they're bad. That reversal of causality. A lot of people have trouble with it. No, because if it goes that way, then you're talking about me. Yeah. If you think that everybody's telling you that the way you do heroin is bad and you're doing it because you're a bad person, maybe it's because you fucking know. Maybe that's what it is, you know? Like, you get these people that get very, very angry when they're called racist. You call them a racist, they go, I'm not a racist, I'm not a... And they have a fucking fit about it. And you look at what they got called a racist for, and it's fucking racist. Like the word dogpile. Dogpile is a racist term. You didn't know that, did you? You didn't realize dogpile is a racist term. It's quite likely you didn't know that. If you were old enough, however, you would recognize that dogpile is the sanitized, euphemistic term for another word. Another type of pile. It starts with an N. Yep, that word, that N word. Yeah, that's the N word it started with. That's the one. When you say dog pile, that's a dog whistle. Because used to be everybody who said dog pile knew exactly what they meant and knew exactly what they were talking about. And they said dog pile so they could get away with it. And now that's entered the common parlance, and people say that. And you notice when you really start paying attention, that whenever people talk about a dog pile, it is black people, isn't it? Like almost every time. They don't mean it to be racist. They don't even think it's racist. They don't recognize why it's racist, really. But they use it like it's racist. They act as if it's still the N pile. They still use it that way. Because even though we haven't been told, even though we haven't been trained, no, this is what you use it for, we see how it's used, and we internalize how it's used, and we repeat how it's used. Oh, no. We don't use that for white people because white people don't do that. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. We just call it something else. We don't use the same word. That's fucking racist. Maybe you don't know it's racist. Maybe it doesn't occur to you that this is racist. Maybe you don't know the history of the term. Maybe you don't know the meaning of the term. But still a racist term. Still used in a racist way. And now that you know that, if somebody jumps up your butt because you said dog pile and you were talking about black people, if you lose your shit about how you are not being racist, you knew. You knew when you did it. And when you lose your shit about it, when you sit there and you go, I am not a racist, I am not a racist. You knew you said a racist thing. You knew that what you said was racist. You knew that what you did was racist. You're not arguing and objecting because you think what you did wasn't racist, but because you know it was. It's the same way with these people who have their substance abuse problem. And they go, it's just a problem. I'm not doing it on purpose. Sometimes you are. Sometimes you do use your disorders and your inadequacies as an excuse to get out of things you don't want to do. It's a childish thing to do, but we encourage people to be more and more childish as history moves forward. As the march of history proceeds, we encourage people more and more frequently to be childish. And I want to be clear. I absolutely think you should be childish. I think you should say silly things and do silly things, and you should wear your Pokemon onesie. Absolutely, that's totally cool. But don't wear it to fucking work. Don't say, I have to do this because it's the only thing that I feel comfortable in. I need my snuggly Pokemon onesie or I can't work. Then you're fucking weak, dude. You should absolutely have your Pokemon onesie. You should absolutely wear it. That's fun. That's funny. You go do your thing. I am absolutely in support of you owning and wearing your Pokemon onesie. Not at work. Wear some real fucking clothes. Dress like a professional. Act like a professional. Get your work done, dude. But I can't do it if I don't have my comfort, if I don't have my treats. I can't do the work. Are you a fucking dog? Can't do anything without your treats? Grow the fuck up. You're not required to be miserable, okay? You don't have to be miserable. I'm not saying you have to be miserable. I'm just saying maybe you don't get to feel good all the time. Maybe sometimes you just go, okay, enough of that. and you go get shit done. You put that away and you go get your work done. And when you're done with your work, you come back, be as fucking irresponsible and unproductive as you want when you're off the clock. When you don't have shit to do. I'm very much in support of that. You could see me. I'm on video being irresponsible and unproductive, for God's sake. I will tell you, I've been irresponsible and unproductive for 6 months, and how do you like that? But I also recognize it as a bad thing. And it's my fault. It's my fault. Something is wrong with me that I do this shit. And I recognize that. I recognize right now. And I'm working on the problem. Right now, I'm supposed to be working on making the UI for my game look better. And I'm having trouble with the Godot UI implementation. And it's very frustrating. And I don't feel like I should be having this much trouble with it. I don't feel like I should be running into this many issues and having this much objection to it and going, I don't get it, and trying to implement something and going, it doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? And I don't know why, and it's very frustrating. It's very, very frustrating. And I'm looking at it wrong. The way that I need to fix this, the way I need to resolve this is, I need to get a very precise idea that I want the menu to look and act like this. And then I need to focus on how do I make it look and act like this. And once I've done that, I can genericize my understanding of how I make it do this to how do I make it do more? How do I make it do other things? You can expand that and lever it open. And that's ultimately how I'm going to crack this UI thing. And I know that's ultimately how I'm going to crack this UI thing. But I don't have that clear picture, and I'm trying to develop that clear picture and say, okay, once I know exactly what I want this to look like, then I can do something with it. And I don't have that yet. And it's very frustrating that I don't have that yet. But until I have that, I don't think I'm going to make very much progress. And I could tell because I spent a couple of weeks making next to no progress because I didn't have that. And I think that's what I'm missing. I think that's the piece that I need to put in there. And it's not a piece I can look up. It's a piece I have to design and develop for myself. I don't know, man. I don't know. I can't. I'm trying to get the picture in my head. I start the game and what happens? I start the game and you get your marketing collateral. You get the Darklock logo comes up and you get the little slam sound effect. And then you get like a disclaimer and an end user license agreement and some like marketing collateral for the Godot game engine and probably for PV games. Because Pioneer Valley Games has provided a lot of sprites for this. And I feel like I should just like put them up front just to say thanks, you know, just to say, you know, hey, PV Games was involved in this. They weren't like involved, and you got to put a disclaimer on there and all of that. But you have all that marketing collateral and stuff. And then all of that is done. And then the theme song starts up. And the menu comes up. What does the menu look like? How does it behave? What does it sound like? How do you navigate from like one thing to the next? How are they arranged? How is it shaped? And I don't know. I don't know what that is supposed to be. And until I know what that's supposed to look like, until I have that picture in my head, I have the point A, which is like the garbage that I've got running now, but I don't have a point B, and it's hard to plot a path from point A to point B. There's no shortcut to this. I just have to do what I'm doing and figure out what that fucking menu looks like. Just gotta be fucking done. There's no way around it. If there were 30 days in July, I could put it off for a day. I could put off the apples for a day. If there were 30 days in July, if this was the last day of July and Friday was the 1st of August, I could put it off a day. But there's 31 days in July, so the 31st is Friday. And at sundown, well, it's Shabbat, and I light the candles and I do no work on Shabbat. So it would be August 1st and Shabbat, and I couldn't do the apples, and I would have to wait until Sunday the 2nd. I could put it off for one day, but not for 3. Can't put it off for 3 because of the fucking rats. You gotta get the shit cleaned up so you don't get rats. Anyway, that's gonna be my day tomorrow. The criticism of RFK Jr., the criticism of RFK Jr. Doing heroin at Harvard is not a slam on all people with substance abuse problems. And the people who are claiming it is probably ought to take a long, hard look at themselves and figure out whether what they're actually saying is, hey, I'm just as problematic as he is. Well, then you fucking suck, and you need to do something about it. Sorry, Charlie. I wonder how many people remember that Sorry, Charlie is a tuna commercial. Anyway. Too many people are irresponsible and unproductive these days. I'm not saying I'm always responsible and productive. I'm just saying, if you're irresponsible and unproductive, that's bad. That's a bad thing. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to say, oh shit, I was irresponsible and unproductive. I should ought to do less of that. My stakes are low, man. I don't fucking care. But when the stakes are high, and a lot of people are operating in a world of high stakes. When the stakes are high, you need to be responsible and you need to be productive. And there's a lot of people that are using street drugs to be responsible and productive. And we don't recognize that, and we don't appreciate that. But yeah, that's what's going through my mind these days. Kind of undirected, but yeah. Once again, do the little YouTube dance, like, comment, subscribe, all that happy horse shit. Okay, bye.